Welcome back and good morning once again. As we said in the beginning, today we're going to be taking an economic look at Egypt, discussing the Davos Economic Forum in which Egypt participated. Dr. Haizam Biblawi is the Prime Minister, as well as the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Investments. Both attended the Davos Forum along with Dr. Haizam Biblawi. Today we're going to be talking about the forum and what we're expecting to happen in terms of economic developments here in Egypt in the upcoming period, especially after the passage of the new drafted constitution. We're pleased to be joined this morning by Mohamed Bartash, who is a research economist. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let me first talk about, when it comes to the Davos Forum, it is one of the most important forums where you can move over there freely, just moving. You can see all decision makers across the world over there, moving around. You can talk to all these people. I think this is one of the most important forums, and it is also important during this critical period of time to Egypt. How do you see it?
Well, that's a very good remark, because especially the timing, since 1971, it was the foundation of the Davos Forum. It has been like a discussion, open discussions and negotiations among countries, even among the CEOs, the big CEOs around the world. So we speak about more than 3,400 big CEOs, and among them, of course, the head of states. And it is a good opportunity for us. Let's say, come back to Egypt now. It's a good opportunity for Egypt now to demonstrate and to show the world the new, let's say, opportunities that exist in Egypt, or the economic reforms that Egypt will take steps for the coming or the coming 5 years at least. So it's a very good opportunity for Egypt to show this. And although, of course, there are some economic indicators that are not in favor in Egypt nowadays, among them, of course, the Egypt now is ranking like 135 among the world, let's say, in the world in terms of economic freedom, which involves of the rule of law and the corruption, etc. There are certain parameters that that show, or that give us a big notion regarding the economic freedom, and Egypt unfortunately is ranking 135. But on the other hand,
has that number been affected by the recent events?
No.
Or has this been the same
yes.
for a long time?
We lost actually 1.04 points compared to last year. And even that is
135 out of
171.
Wow.
So
very good.
we are in the tail of the list, let's say. But on the other hand, let's say it's a positive point, and this is according to Fitch organization that is ranking Egypt now, or Egypt has passed from the, let's say, negative position to stable position, and this is, we can consider it as a positive point. Of course, there is lots of challenges are waiting for us for the coming years, and from my point of view, the most important is the regulation and applying the rule of law. This is very important. If we stress and we focus on this important point, this is the core for investors, that they see the possibility to do business in Egypt or not. So I think and Dr. Haizam Biblawi is focusing more on this to attract more investors in Egypt.
Well, what has been the major points on the agenda of the forum this year?
Sorry?
The major points, the projects that are intended to be implemented on the agenda of this year's forum.
Yes, well, one of these important project, which is Suez project, of course, we have already started the tenders, and we are selecting more or less. This is according to the latest indicator. We have like 14 tenders that are accepted out of 34. And this is mega project, is really will take Egypt into different scenario, and I think this is one of the major point that we have to focus on. This is in one hand. Another major project, mega project, let's say, El Daba project, when it comes to nuclear produce of electricity, for instance. And this is another mega project that we have to, as I said even before in other interviews, that we really need national projects. On the other hand, Egypt is spent, or is about to spend like 30 billion Egyptian pounds for, let's say, infrastructure, to give more emphasis to investment in Egypt, etc. And one of them that we have to go through the facilitation or facilitate in terms of the rules and the application of the laws in Egypt. And this is really very, very important issue.
There is going to be a special session in favor of Egypt, the economic situation right now in Egypt, how important it is, and how can we focus on the bright side. I mean, yes, definitely we have some problems, but also we have some important things that can attract investors as well.
That's a very good question, because Egypt will they will dedicate for Egypt more than 30 minutes, even only for Egypt to explain its position. But in the meantime, this is my advice, we have to be very transparent, because we are among the biggest CEOs in the world, the biggest researchers in the world, among the head of states. So it's not in our favor to give a different let's say position or a different picture of what's going on. So it's better to be transparent, to say what's going on really, and to explain more and more our roadmap. And this is very important, because now we just finished the referendum successfully, and this was just the beginning.
Can this be separately from the situation in Egypt? I mean, I'm not talking about political issues. Basically, I'm talking about economics. I mean, if you are going to talk about, for example, the economic situation over there in the forum, of course, there must be some preparations here in Egypt, some laws to be issued to guarantee and to give all the facilities required for investors.
That's sure, because...
Are we moving parallel to each other or not?
We cannot separate economy from politics. This is,
no, I'm talking
impossible.
About the laws itself, the exit barriers,
yes.
the market, what do we need. Yeah. Definitely we cannot separate it from the political situation, but I'm talking about economic laws.
Yes, economic laws, it's already, some great part of them are already mentioned in our referendum, the latest constitution. Yes, and this has, and as we said before, it's a big step towards a new horizon for the Egyptian economy. That's why the application now is not only just to put these articles in the constitutions, but we have to focus on the issuing the laws that support these articles. And this is, I think this is what you mean. This is really the most important, is the application. And in the meantime, let's say, to clean up the number of laws that we have. In Egypt, we have more than 63,000 laws in Egypt that really need to be reviewed, to be clean, to be, see if there is any coherent, to update it,
and be implemented.
This is the most important part, to be implemented. Yes, this is.
Now, today, in appreciation of Egypt, the forum is going to hold a session about the country and its economic development and its economic future. How important do you think this step is, especially because, I mean, officials from all around the world, as well as businessmen from all around the world and foreign investors are going to be present at this forum?
That's true. Yeah, well, let's go back to the same point. I mean, taking some indicators with us to the sessions that given to Egypt to express ourselves in this important forum, it's important to give some positive indicators, to give more explanation about the roadmap, and of course the let's say interrelation between Egypt and some other countries. We have to take advantage of this opportunity, because we'll be close to certain countries in the same forum. And of course, on the other hand, let's say in the forum during the last years, there is always a good opportunity to, let's say, to clear the picture among certain countries. And Egypt is really need of this. After the new constitution, after we can encounter with the head of let's say, in the states and in the Asia, etc. It's a good opportunity for Egypt, instead of having just bilateral encounter. It's a good opportunity now that you see all these